Hi, I'm Krystle. I've loved dolls since I was a child, and I never outgrew it. So, when I discovered Reborn dolls, my collection started to grow. There's Haley, Landon, Avery, Chloe, Shiloh, Grace, Jamie, Jeremy, Maya, Yuki, Savannah, and Ava. Along with collecting, I've been a Reborn artist since 2008. It isn't easy keeping up with my collection, but it sure is a lot of fun. Hi guys, so I am here to do Avery's story, to share with you when Avery was born and the story of how I brought her home, all that good stuff like I did with Landon and Haley. So, to start off, this is Avery Lynn. Her middle name is Lynn. I actually had totally forgotten about that. I looked back in her book and yeah, her name is Avery Lynn. And I actually came up with her name with the help of some members of my Neonates and Baby Think It Over group that I was running at the time. She was my very first Reborn that I ever bought. Like I said, I had my Ashton Drake dolls, which are kind of like manufactured Reborns, but they're not like handmade Reborns, but whatever. I had, you know, Ashton Drakes, and then I had Haley, who's the Baby Think It Over, or was it the electronic neonate, and then became a Real Care 2 baby. And so anyways, I had actually just brought the Real Care 2 Haley home, and so I did not have a very large budget to spend on Reborns, but I really wanted to see a Reborn in person and see what they were all about. So I started looking on eBay, and there was one baby that I had found from a local artist, and I was watching the auction, but the price just went way too high for me, and I just could not afford that baby. So I started looking some more, and I came across this adorable little face, and her auction photos really captured my attention, and they were such beautiful photos, and I will insert her auction photos here because her artist did send a disc with them. So anyways, Avery, according to her birth certificate that she came with, she was actually reborn on August the 16th, 2008, but she arrived home to me September the 9th, 2008. And so I usually consider the day that the baby arrives home to me their birthday, because I track basically how long I've had them for. So her birthday is September the 9th. And her artist had actually named her Gabby, which I did not like that name. So like I said, with the help of people in my group, I came up with the name Avery Lynn. And she weighs 4 pounds, 14 ounces, and she is 19 inches long. She is the Vivian sculpt by Evelina Wosnjuk, or Wosnjuk. Never know how to pronounce that name. And yeah, she was done by Patsy Howard from Pat Cake's Nursery. I'm not even sure if she's a Reborn artist anymore, but that's who reborned her. And I was so impressed when she came home to me. Now, she did have a bit of bedhead, and I did have fun fixing it up. I sprayed it with some water and scrunched it up to get her little curls coming in, and I had fun letting her sit there and have it dry. She came home in a beautiful dress, which I still have that dress to this day. Pretty much everything else she came home with. The only other things that I kept from her were her shoes, her socks, and a little hat that had a bunny on it. But everything else she came to me with has moved along. I kind of regret now not keeping what all of my dolls came with. I don't know, like, I know some people like to keep them in a little plastic bag somewhere, and then if they decide to resell it, they can send them off with what they came with. But due to space, I can't keep everything. So, but I always keep their papers, and I have them in my little doll binder. So I was just super excited when she arrived home. I was so excited to finally have a reborn. I was surprised at how heavy she was, but I just loved her little face. My mom loved her too. I think my mom still really likes her face. And the stuff she came with, it was such a beautiful presentation. She came with a little suitcase, and the suitcase held her paperwork. It had bottles, extra outfits, a giraffe, which I still have actually. It's right up here, the giraffe that she came with. And you wind it up and it plays music. So I will show you those pictures of her arrival right here. Yeah, so I just really enjoyed having her. I was going back and forth between her and Haley because, of course, Haley was still relatively new as well, and she had that interaction feature that I liked. But then I also really liked the cuddle factor of the reborn, and I liked her hair, styling her hair, changing her clothes, and actually, we were in the process of wedding planning, planning our wedding. And I remember when it came time to go do cake testing, I actually brought her along with me. She came along with me to do cake testing. I don't know if I don't think we brought her right into the place to cake test, but she came for the car ride and we left her in the car. But that was one of the outings that I did with her. And then she also came with me to visit my friend Amy because we were going to our first doll show. Well, not her first doll show, but my first doll show to attend. We were going to a little local doll show together, and I brought her along with me. And I also brought both of my Haleys at that time, the electronic neonate Haley and the Real Care 2 Haley, because I hadn't sold the neonate one yet. And I brought them to Amy so that she could put the eyelashes and the eyebrows and stuff to make my new Haley look like the old Haley kind of thing. So we did that, and yeah, and then we went off to the doll show and had lots of fun. I had a stroller with me, and I had, oh, I think I had Haley, one Haley in a snuggly and one Haley in a stroller, and I think I even had Avery in the stroller too. So we had a fun day there. So that was another outing with Avery. And I don't know if I've really taken her out too much after that. Oh, I did take her to my grandmother's one time. And this was not too long ago. It might have been, maybe 2 years ago. 3 at the most. I took her to my grandmother's one weekend. We were going there, I forget what we were celebrating. I don't know if it was my mom's birthday or Mother's Day or something. And I spent the weekend with my mom at my grandma's. And I brought Avery, and my grandmother absolutely loved her. And we left her at the house to go and see a movie across the street. And we were in the dollar store, and they had Peeps, which I love Peeps. And so my grandmother bought me a package of Peeps. And when we came home, my grandmother gave the package of Peeps to Avery, and we actually have a picture of Avery holding the Peeps. And my grandma's like, look at her, she's so happy to have this candy. Oh, it was just so much fun. Okay guys, so now I want to show you Avery's details. Now, one thing that I don't recall being mentioned in her auction was her eyebrows. And for some reason, I just didn't even notice. I mean, it was my first time purchasing a Reborn. I really wasn't sure what to be looking for. But I never noticed in her auction that she does not have eyebrows, as you can see. And what I noticed when I first got them, or got her, I should say, is that the eyebrows are, there's like these white little flaky things. So it's that I noticed these, see how it's like kind of white and flaky? And so I really wasn't sure if that was something to do with the painting or what. It's my first Reborn, I really didn't know. But years later, I think I've figured it out. If I run my finger across, I can feel some little hairs. And so I think what it was is that her artist had tried to root eyebrows and didn't like them and pulled them out. And so what's the little white parts that I'm seeing is like the holes in the vinyl. So that's an unfortunate thing with her because because of the way that's all kind of roughed up, there's no way that I can think of painting eyebrows on there. So she doesn't have eyebrows. And her skin tone doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it. It's just some little splotches of color. There's her mouth. She does take a magnetic Patsy. And she's got some like blushing in her creases there. Her rooting is nowhere near the quality of rooting that my other dolls are, like Maya or Yuki's hair. And the back of her hair, just from sitting, always seems to get really matted up, as you can see. I usually just wet it and comb it out with a comb, but it always just gets matted up when I lay her down. I probably should have combed it before showing you guys. But anyways, you can see she has a little bit of a swirl in there. But you can see right here, like you can see her hair is quite pluggy with the rooting. There's a lot of plugs. But at the time, this was my first reborn. I had nothing to compare to, and I thought she was amazing. But now I know about micro rooting and all that stuff and how much more realistic that is. I mean, Savannah's hair is like to die for. Yuki's hair too, and Maya's. I mean, they don't have these plugs like this. And also, like, this side of her head, the hair is a lot thicker than this side. It's rooted a lot thicker and like very pluggy. But I like the curls, and I like that, you know, I can make her hair like a little bit wavy. Here you can see on her neck, she's got like, her creases are very red. It's the old way of reborning, probably done with stencil cream. Oh, look, you guys can see the back of her onesie now. It has the little cat butt with the tail and little paw prints. I forgot about that. So here are her limbs. You can see. Her veins are not the greatest. Hello, Riley. They're like, they almost remind me of being drawn on with pen, to be quite honest. But again, at the time, this was the first time I saw a reborn in person, and I really had no idea. And things, you know, in the reborn world have advanced a great deal since I purchased this baby. I'd say this was probably like quite the standard back then. There's her nails. They're kind of thick. When I paint my nail tips, I do them a lot thinner than that. So that's her left arm. And her right arm is pretty well the same. Like, I feel like she just put like a quick flesh layer and then just did like little bits of blushing here and there. She doesn't really have what I would say mottling, or you see how there's just like red dot kind of thing, and there's some chalkiness in there. So she's definitely not, like, in terms of painting, there's not, see how her veins are there? There's not a lot of depth and realism like Yuki and Savannah and Maya, those babies. But for what it was back then, I'd say she's pretty good. Here's her little open hand here. And then we'll look at her feet and her legs. Okay, so here are her legs. And again, painted very much like her arms. You can see some, you know, chalkiness. You can see a little bit of color there. Little bits of color there. I'm thinking her blushing was done with stencil paint, because that's actually what I used when I did my first reborn. And it kind of comes up like this. And again, you can see the veining in her feet. It's just like these little pen marks. Like, it doesn't look like it's, you know, below the skin. But she's okay. There's her little toes. On the bottom of her feet. And here's her other foot. She kind of just has a general red color to the whole bottom of the feet, which is fine because some babies have that C shape around with color, and some babies the whole foot is very red. So it can vary depending on the baby. So I have no issues with the whole foot being red because that can be realistic. The blending is not so good because you can see there's like a distinct line in between this color and this color. I like to blend it so that it just ever so slightly moves into this color. But again, that's something that I learned over the years of reborning. I mean, I didn't even do that from the beginning either. So And you know, so you can see like a dot of red, a dot of red. So things have definitely come a long way in the reborning world. So those are her details. And I believe I've shown her body before when I did changing. Like, she's got a pretty decent sized body. It's pretty solid and quite heavy. She's got a little belly. It's funny, to me, she weighs a lot more than 4 pounds, because a lot of the babies that I make are about 4 pounds and they weigh a lot less than her, in my opinion, from the feel. So I don't know if the weight on her birth certificate is accurate, because I feel like she's heavier than that. I should actually weigh her one day and see exactly, but her head isn't really floppy, like it's pretty on there, and yeah, and she's got blue eyes, as you can see, and these gorgeous little eyelashes that are applied. So yeah, those are Avery's details. So that's pretty much all for Avery's little story, how I got her, and how she was my very first reborn. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed hearing the story of Avery. And I will leave you with a little slideshow of some photos of Avery from over the years. I hope you enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody. still in his Valentine's Day outfit, so I thought to change him, and I've been wanting to put this brand new outfit from Carter's. It's a one piece and it's knitted with like very heavy wool, and I thought today would be the best day to put him in this because it's actually quite cold out.